Your enemies expect you to fight them. When you fight, they put up walls. But when you praise them, they open the gates. Machiavelli taught that you must enter their house as a friend to learn where the structural beams are weak. Today you learn the Trojan Horse method of influence. You cannot conquer a fortress that sees you coming. If you have a rival at work or a difficult family member, stop arguing with them. Arguments only solidify their defense. Instead, you must feed their ego until it is so bloated they cannot see past it. This is the Trojan Horse strategy. You are going to give them a compliment so specific, so targeted to their deepest insecurity, that they have no choice but to let you in. If they think they are smart, ask for their wisdom. If they think they are tough, admire their resilience. Once they believe you are their student, they will stop treating you like a threat. They will hand you the keys to the kingdom because they think they are giving a tour to a fan. Little do they know, you are mapping the exits. Now, before we continue, understand this. What I'm about to teach you is morally neutral. It's a scalpel. You can use it to heal or to harm, but I encourage you to use it for good. I'm showing you the mechanism because knowledge is power, and ignorance leaves you vulnerable. The people who already know this are using it on you right now. So hit that subscribe button and pay attention. Why arrogant people are the easiest to control. Let me tell you something that will change how you see power forever. The people who appear the strongest are often the most fragile. Arrogance is not confidence. Confidence is quiet. Arrogance is loud because it is compensating for something, and that something is doubt. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. In The Prince, he wrote about how leaders who surround themselves with flatterers become blind to reality. They become so drunk on praise that they lose the ability to detect threats. They mistake validation for truth. This is the ego trap. Here's how it works. When someone has a massive ego, their entire identity is built on maintaining a certain image. They are smart, they are powerful, they are important, they are right. Every interaction becomes a referendum on that image. Every conversation is a test they must pass to prove their superiority. This makes them predictable. This makes them controllable. Think about the most arrogant person you know. Your boss who talks over everyone in meetings. Your family member who thinks they know everything. Your colleague who takes credit for other people's work. What do they all have in common? They need to be right. They need to be seen as superior. They need constant validation. And that need is their weakness. Normal people can handle criticism. They can tolerate disagreement. But the arrogant, they cannot. Their ego is a fragile tower that requires constant maintenance. One crack, and the whole thing threatens to collapse. So here's what you do. You become the maintenance crew. When you argue with an arrogant person, you activate their defenses. They dig in. They double down. They will die on the stupidest hill imaginable just to prove they cannot be moved. This is why arguing with them is pointless. But when you praise them, when you validate the very thing they are desperate to believe about themselves, the walls come down, the drawbridge lowers, you are welcomed inside. Because you are not a threat anymore. You are a believer. You are a follower. You are proof that they were right all along. And once you are inside, you can do whatever you want. This is not about lying. This is about understanding what people need to hear in order to let you in. Everyone has an ego. Everyone has insecurities. The arrogant simply wear theirs on the outside, making your job easier. The key is specificity. Generic compliments do nothing. You're so smart is noise. But the way you broke down that problem in the meeting last week, showed a level of strategic thinking most people don't have. That lands. Because it shows you were paying attention. It shows you see them the way they want to be seen. And once they believe you see them that way, they will let you close. 2. Finding their leash. Now we get tactical. I want you to do something uncomfortable. Think of the person you hate most, the person who makes your blood boil, the person you would cross the street to avoid. Got them? Good. Now I want you to ask yourself, what are they proud of? Not what you think they should be proud of. Not what is objectively impressive about them. What do they think makes them special? Your brain is screaming at you to focus on everything you hate about this person, their flaws, their mistakes, their insufferable personality. But that is useless information. That tells you nothing about how to influence them, what they are proud of. That is the map to their mind. Are they proud of being self-made, of being tough, of being analytical, of being creative, of being a good parent, of being independent? Whatever it is, that is their leash. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a coworker who constantly undermines you. They are competitive, cutthroat, and they see you as a threat. Every interaction is a power struggle. You could fight them directly. You could try to outmaneuver them. You could go to HR. But all of those options put you in open conflict, and conflict is expensive. Or you could find their leash. Let's say this person prides themselves on being a strategic thinker. They love chess. They talk about playing the long game. They see themselves as the smartest person in the room. Here's what you do. You approach them privately, and you say something like this. Hey, can I ask you something? I've been watching how you handle the politics in this department, and I'm honestly impressed. You seem to see 3 moves ahead when everyone else is focused on the immediate. How did you develop that skill? Watch what happens. First, they will be surprised. You are supposed to be their enemy. Why are you complimenting them? Second, their ego will override their suspicion because you just gave them exactly what they crave, recognition of the thing they are most proud of. Third, they will start talking. They will explain their philosophy. They will share their methods. They will position themselves as the mentor and you as the student. And just like that, the dynamic has shifted. You are no longer a threat. You are an admirer. You are someone who finally understands their brilliance. The person who was working to destroy you is now invested in your development. This is the power of specific validation. It has to be specific because generic praise is forgettable. You're really good at your job does nothing. But the way you reframed that client objection in the pitch last month was masterful. You turned their biggest concern into your strongest selling point. That cuts through. Because it shows you were paying attention. It shows you understand them. It shows you see the thing they desperately want to be seen for. Here's the key insight. People are not proud of their strengths. They are proud of the things they worked hard to build because they were insecure about them. The person who brags about being tough, they used to feel weak. The person who constantly mentions how smart they are, they used to feel stupid. The person who talks about how independent they are, they used to feel powerless. Your job is to identify the armor they built and complement the craftsmanship. When you do this correctly, something profound happens. They stop seeing you as an outsider. They see you as one of the few people who truly understands them, and people trust those who understand them. This is the Trojan Horse. You are not breaking down the gates. You are being invited in. 3. Asking for advice to lower their guard. Now that you have their attention, You need to deepen the relationship. You need to move from person who sees me clearly to person I am invested in. This is where the mentor frame comes in. Robert Greene talks about this extensively. When you position someone as your mentor, you trigger something primal in them. Humans are wired to want to pass on knowledge. It makes us feel important. It makes us feel valuable. It satisfies the ego in a way that few other things can. And here's the beautiful part. When someone becomes your mentor, they become psychologically invested in your success. Think about it. If you teach someone your methods and they fail, what does that say about your methods? If you give someone advice and they crash and burn, what does that say about your wisdom? Nothing good. So when someone accepts the role of mentor, they subconsciously start rooting for you. They want you to succeed because your success validates their guidance. Your wins become their wins. This is how you convert an enemy into an ally without them even realizing it. Here's how you do it. After you have given them the specific validation, you ask for advice. Not vague advice. Specific advice about a real problem you are facing that aligns with their area of pride. If they pride themselves on being strategic, ask them how they would handle a political situation at work. If they pride themselves on being tough, ask them how they would navigate a difficult conversation. If they pride themselves on being creative, ask them how they would approach a problem that requires unconventional thinking. The key is to make the question real and specific. Vague questions get vague answers. But when you come to them with a genuine problem and frame them as the only person capable of solving it, you activate their ego and their desire to prove their competence. Let me give you an example. Let's go back to that competitive coworker. You have already complimented their strategic thinking. Now you come to them a few days later. Hey, I've been thinking about what you said about playing the long game, and I'm dealing with something that I think requires that kind of thinking. There's a project coming up, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to position myself for it, without creating unnecessary enemies. You've navigated this kind of thing before. How would you approach it? Notice what you just did. You referenced the previous conversation, showing continuity, and that you actually listened. You framed the problem as requiring their specific skill set. You positioned them as the expert. You gave them an opportunity to demonstrate their value. And here's what happens. They give you advice. Maybe it is good advice. Maybe it is terrible advice. It does not matter. What matters is they are now invested in your outcome. Every time they see you after that conversation, they will subconsciously be wondering, did they take my advice? Did it work? They will check in. They will ask follow-up questions. They will start to see you as a protégé rather than a competitor. And the more they invest in you, the less likely they are to undermine you. Because now your failure is their failure. This is the mentor frame. You are not manipulating them. You are giving them what they want. The opportunity to feel wise and important, while simultaneously repositioning yourself from threat to asset. Machiavelli would approve. 4. Agreeing with their worldview to gain trust. We are getting close to the end game now. You have validated them. You have positioned them as your mentor. Now you need to build trust. And the fastest way to build trust is through strategic agreement. Here's the truth. People do not trust people who disagree with them. They trust people who see the world the way they do. When you share someone's worldview, you become part of their tribe. You become safe. This does not mean you have to agree with everything they say. That would be obvious and fake. What it means is that you need to identify the core beliefs that define their identity and align with those. Everyone has a handful of beliefs that are non-negotiable. These are the beliefs that, if challenged, they will fight to the death to defend. These are the beliefs that make them who they are. Your job is to figure out what those beliefs are and agree with them, not superficially, deeply. Let me give you an example. Let's say the person you are dealing with believes that hard work is the only thing that matters. They hate excuses. They think people who complain are weak. They believe in meritocracy. You do not have to share that belief. You might think that systemic inequality exists and that not everyone has the same opportunities, but in this context, with this person, you express agreement with their worldview. I completely agree. I have no patience for people who make excuses instead of just doing the work. If you want something, go get it. When you do this, something powerful happens. Their guard drops even further, because now you are not just someone who sees their value. You are someone who thinks like them. You are one of them. This is strategic agreement. You are mirroring their worldview to create psychological safety. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Isn't this dishonest? Isn't this lying? Number. It is strategic communication. You are emphasizing the parts of your worldview that align with theirs and de-emphasizing the parts that do not. You are meeting them where they are. This is what diplomats do. This is what negotiators do. This is what anyone who understands influence does. The alternative is to argue with them, convince them they are wrong, and try to change their mind. Good luck with that. People do not change their core beliefs because of an argument. They change them through experience, over time, and usually painfully. Your goal is not to change them. Your goal is to influence them, and influence requires trust, and trust requires alignment. So you find the places where your worldview and theirs overlap, and you emphasize those. You make them feel understood. You make them feel like you are on the same team. Because once they see you as a teammate, they stop seeing you as a threat. 5. Introducing your idea as if it were theirs. Now we reach the most delicate part of the operation, the pivot. You have built trust. You have positioned yourself as a student. You have aligned with their worldview. Now you need to get them to do what you want. But here is the trick. You cannot ask directly, because the moment you ask directly, you reveal your agenda. And the moment your agenda is revealed, their defenses go back up. Instead, you need to plant your idea in their mind and let them think it was theirs all along. This is inception. This is what master influencers do. Here is how it works. You introduce your idea as a question or observation, framed in a way that aligns with their worldview and makes them think they came up with it. Let's go back to our example. Let's say your actual goal is to get this competitive coworker to support you for a leadership position on an upcoming project. You do not say, "Hey, I think I should lead this project. Will you support me?" That is too direct. That reveals your hand. Instead, you say something like, "I was thinking about what you said about strategic positioning. It seems like this project is going to be a high-visibility opportunity. Whoever leads it is going to have a lot of eyes on them. I wonder if it makes sense for someone who understands the long game to step up, rather than someone who is just going to chase short-term wins." Notice what you just did. You framed the observation in terms of their worldview, long game versus short-term thinking. You did not position yourself explicitly. You left space for them to make the connection. You created a problem, Someone who chases short-term wins might get the role. That requires a solution. Someone strategic should lead. Now watch what happens. If you have built the relationship correctly, they will start to think about who that strategic person should be. And because they see you as someone who thinks like them, who understands strategy, who they have invested in as a mentee, your name starts to surface in their mind. And then, if you are lucky, they suggest it themselves. You know what? You should lead this. You understand what needs to happen here. And just like that, your idea has become their idea. You are not pushing your agenda. You are creating the conditions for them to arrive at your agenda on their own. Machiavelli wrote, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. The fool demands what they want and wonders why people resist. The wise plant seeds and watch them grow. 6. Getting what you need while they feel superior. We have reached the final stage, the extraction. You have done everything right. You have built trust. You have positioned yourself correctly. You have planted your idea. Now you need to extract the information, the favor, the support, whatever it is you actually came for. And here is the key. You need to let them feel superior while they give it to you. This is crucial. If at any point they feel like they have been played, the entire operation collapses. They need to walk away from every interaction feeling like they won, like they are the smart one, like they are the one in control. So when they give you what you want, you frame it as their wisdom, their generosity, their superior judgment. If they support you for the leadership role, you say, "Thank you. I really appreciate you seeing the strategic value here. Not everyone thinks long-term like you do." If they share information you need, you say, "This is exactly the kind of insight I was hoping for." You have a way of cutting through the noise that most people just do not have. You are reinforcing the frame. You are validating their ego. You are ensuring they feel good about helping you. Because here is what happens when people feel good about helping you. They help you again. This is not a one-time transaction. This is the beginning of a relationship where they see themselves as your mentor, your advisor, your champion. And as long as you continue to feed that narrative, they will continue to support you. The person who was your enemy is now your asset. The person who wanted to destroy you now wants to see you succeed. And they have no idea how it happened. This is the Trojan Horse method. You did not storm the gates. You were invited in. You did not conquer them. You made them want to help you. Machiavelli understood that power is not about force. It is about positioning. It is about making people believe that what you want is what they want. And when you master this, you become very difficult to stop. So here is what I want you to do. Think about the person in your life right now who is making things difficult for you. The rival, the obstacle, the enemy. Stop fighting them. Start studying them. What are they proud of? What do they need to hear? What worldview do they hold? And then, strategically, deliberately, give them exactly what they need. Feed their ego. Ask for their wisdom. Align with their beliefs. Plant your ideas. And extract what you came for. This is not about being fake. This is about being strategic. The people who win are not the ones who fight the hardest. They are the ones who understand human nature well enough to make the fight unnecessary. If you are ready to play the long game, hit that like button. And if you want more strategies like this, subscribe, because we are just getting started. Until next time, stay strategic.